Solid Start is a platform that educates parents about introducing solids to babies. They are currently the leading platform. Thankfully, I was able to take their Starting Solids Foundation course for caregivers. Everything I'll be sharing in this video I learned from that course. There are three methods of introducing solids to babies. I'm going to thoroughly explain each method so you're well equipped to pick the right choice for you and your baby. I'll let you know the disadvantages and advantages of each. The first method is the spoon feeding method. That's the traditional method of introducing solids to babies. Everyone knows about the spoon feeding method. This involves mixing baby cereal like Cerelac or Geba in a bowl and offering it to baby with a spoon, or blending fruits and vegetables into a smooth consistency and offering it to baby with a spoon. The advantages of the spoon feeding method include little or no mess. You're literally in charge, you offer the food to your baby, and the babies barely make a mess when they're being spoon fed. Unlike the baby-led weaning method where babies interact with food, this method is really neat. All you have to do is to wipe your baby's mouth when they're done eating. The spoon feeding method is easier compared to the baby-led weaning method. It's easier to step into the supermarket to purchase baby cereal or pre-made purees than to prepare a meal for your baby. Lastly, the spoon feeding method usually does not allow food waste. Now let's look at the disadvantages of the spoon feeding method. The spoon feeding method dulls the development of their fine and sensory motor skills. When babies feed themselves, they are working on their fine and sensory motor skills, and with the traditional spoon feeding method, babies don't get to use their fine motor skills. They just sit still and a spoon enters their mouth. So during the whole course of spoon feeding your child, you are dulling their fine motor and sensory motor skills. The spoon feeding method delays independent feeding in children. When babies get used to being spoon fed, they may lose interest in learning how to feed themselves. For some spoon fed babies, it's really hard for them to learn how to eat by themselves, and so they always demand for an adult to feed them. You want to create an environment for your child's independence to thrive. You know that children transition from a stage of dependence, which is the infancy stage, to a stage of independence, which is the toddler stage. So you want to ensure that during the infancy stage, you're doing the right things to help them transition smoothly to that stage of independence. The likelihood of a spoon-fed baby being a picky eater is really, really high. The reason is, when you're spoon feeding your baby, you limit the amount of flavors and textures that you expose to them. Especially here in Nigeria, it's like the norm when a baby turns 6 months, pap is already ready, and all they give the baby is pap. If you're exposing your child to one texture and one flavor for an extended period of time, it's going to be hard for them to transition to other flavors and other textures. This is one of the major disadvantages of spoon feeding babies. You know that if you're spoon feeding, you want to offer something that is smooth and something that will go well with them. That's why parents usually offer baby cereal or they blend the food up. But you know that during the toddler stage, you really don't expect your child to still be dependent on cereal and smooth texture foods, right? But it's going to be hard for that baby who is already used to smooth textured food to switch to another texture or flavor. That is why it's best to introduce different flavors and different textures during the infancy stage so that when they transition to the toddler stage, they don't find it as difficult. The spoon feeding method delays chewing practice. Remember, you're offering something that is smooth, so your child doesn't need to learn how to chew. I have met quite a few toddlers that do not know how to chew. We assume that chewing comes natural. We assume that babies should just know how to chew. But if you don't give them opportunities to practice how to chew, it's going to be a problem for them when they're older, when they actually do need to chew their food. So if you're offering smooth texture foods to your baby, you're not giving them the opportunity to develop their oral motor skills. In no way am I insinuating that offering smooth texture foods to your baby is a problem. I'm saying when babies get used to that, it could lead to delayed oral motor skills like chewing. If you choose to feed your baby, you need to understand responsive spoon feeding. This is simply when you place the spoon in your baby's mouth when they're ready for the spoon to be in their mouth. You would know that your baby is ready for the spoon when they lean towards the food, when they reach out to grab the spoon, and when they open their mouth. Feeding your baby when they're ready to be fed ensures that you're respecting their hunger and full cues, and it prevents overfeeding and forceful feeding. If baby presses their lips, forces or pushes the food away, then baby is uninterested in the meal. Simply offer it later. These are the advantages and disadvantages of the spoon feeding method. Let's move to the next method. The next method is the baby-led weaning method. Here, babies go straight to adult food. Rice, chicken, boiled apples, boiled pears, spaghetti, you name it. The baby independently places the food in their mouth from day one. For the longest time, we thought that babies weren't capable of eating the food that we eat, but we were all wrong. Babies are so capable of eating what we eat. As long as the food isn't slippery, crunchy, hard, or round, it is considered safe for baby. Let's look at the advantages of the baby-led weaning method. With this method, babies are exposed to different kinds of flavors and textures. They get to chew, they get to move their jaws up and down, and this helps their oral motor skills. They learn what to do with food, and they learn how to move it around their mouth. Baby-led weaning method helps the development of their fine motor skills. They get to use their fingers and their grip as they pick up different sizes of food items and place it in their mouth. This helps with their hand-eye coordination, and this helps them know how to place items in their mouth. The baby-led weaning method saves money. You're feeding your baby what is available in your store. You don't have to get baby cereal, baby milk, and extra things. You just use what is available in your house. So you know that when you're shopping for food items for yourself, you're also doing that for your baby. It allows babies to explore different flavors and textures, which helps reduce the likelihood of your child being a picky eater during the toddler stage. If you choose to go with the baby-led weaning method, you get to offer different food options to your baby. Your baby's taste buds are exposed to different flavors. This helps them become familiar with different flavors and textures, and it also helps their relationship with food. The baby-led weaning method promotes self-feeding. Of course, we do not expect babies to learn how to use their utensils early, but it helps them learn how to place food in their mouth, which is really, really good, as this is the first step in independent feeding. The last advantage on my list is that it helps babies learn how to self-regulate. They are able to pay attention to their hunger cues and their full cues. They know when to stop eating and they know when to eat because they are in charge. They're the ones that put the items in their mouth and not us. We want babies to learn how to pay attention to what is going on within them. We don't want to force them to eat. We want them to learn how to eat when they need to eat and stop eating when they're full. Now let's look at the disadvantages of the baby-led weaning method. The baby-led weaning method may not suit babies that were born preterm or have sensory processing issues or atypical. For these kind of babies, you may just have to stick with the traditional spoon feeding method. Unfortunately, many parents are focused on the amount of food that their babies consume and not the skill that their baby is learning. If you're that kind of parent, you most likely will not love the baby-led weaning method. Many parents get really irritated at the mess that babies create while learning how to eat using the baby-led weaning method. So if you're one of those kind of parents, you would most likely frown at the baby-led weaning method. Last but not the least, parents usually get overwhelmed trying to figure out what they can actually give their baby to eat. Your baby can have literally everything. What matters is how it's served and how often they eat it. Avoid crunchy, slippery, round, hard foods like apples, carrots, cherry tomatoes, blueberries, and strawberries. These are just a few examples. You can offer these food items to your babies, but not in the raw state. You would have to steam them, smash them before offering it to your baby. The meal you're offering to your baby should not contain salt. Having salt once in a while is okay, but having salt in every meal is not okay, and that's because babies already meet their sodium requirements from breast milk or formula. Having extra sodium from their diet is not safe for them. That is too much for them to handle. Babies can have oats, rice, cucumbers, citric fruits, apples, coconut water, chicken thighs, turkey, pancakes, ribs, etc. They can have anything really. For slippery items like banana, you'd have to rub it in peanut chunks or coconut flakes to make it more firm and easy for baby to handle and work in their mouth. Keep the following in mind. Babies 6 to 9 months old do not have a pincer grip yet. This is what a pincer grip looks like. When you pick up items like this, you're using your pincer grip. Their pincer grip is still developing, which means if you offer chopped food items to them, they will not be able to pick it up and feed themselves. And this can make them get frustrated and may even make them dislike mealtime in general. So you want to make sure that the food items you're offering to your 6 to 9 month old is thick and long so they're able to pick it up and place it in their mouth. You can start offering chopped food items from 9 months because the pincer grip should have developed by that time. Also, do not make the mistake of offering large food portions to your baby. I've watched many videos on the internet where parents offer really large portions of food to babies and they end up on the floor. And that's because large food portions overwhelm babies. It's really overwhelming. You want to offer 25% of an adult's food portion. Let's say one chicken thigh, 2 slices of lime, 2 slices of lemon, 2 tablespoons of oats. I'm sure you get the picture that I'm trying to paint. Babies will do with food what they do to toys. They may pick it up, smash it, and then put it in their mouth, while some will never put it in their mouth. You will need to teach baby what to do with food. They actually need someone to model it to them. They need someone who will actually teach them what to do with food. This is their first time being in this situation and they would need your help. To eat when your baby is eating so they're able to see what you're doing with food. If you're not going to be around during the period when they're supposed to be eating, let their caregiver or whoever is caring for them sacrifice and eat when they're eating. Let your baby watch you eat your food. Be really dramatic about it. Pick up the food item, place it in your mouth, and show them what to do with it and be really dramatic. You can either sit across baby so they can really see what you're doing with food. Ensure that you're consistent and over time baby will get a hang of it. Babies 0 to 12 months are dependent on the nutrients from either breast milk or formula, not solids. Therefore, do not put pressure on yourself or on your baby to consume lots of solids. There's no need to prepare separate meals for a baby. Babies can have what you're having as long as it is served appropriately. To learn how to serve certain food items to your baby, you can download the Solid Start app or visit their website. All you need to do is search in the particular food item and it will show you how to serve it to your baby according to their age. Separate your baby's meal at the point of adding salt to the meal that you're cooking, and also ensure that the seasoning you're using does not include salt. So let's say you're making jollof rice, for example. Before you add your seasoning, just separate your baby's portion into another pot and let theirs cook separately. So it's still the same meal, but you don't want salt in your baby's meal. You choose the menu, not baby. Set boundaries with love from the start. If you offer a meal or food item to your baby and they're not interested in it, simply take it away and offer it some other time. This will help you, especially during the toddler stage. When babies do certain things, they're actually dependent on your reaction. So if today your baby throws a toy and you don't pick it up, they're going to learn that mom and dad is not going to pick up this toy. But if they throw it and then you pick it up, they throw it again, you pick it up, they'll keep doing it because you have reinforced the behavior. Same goes with food. When you offer a food item to your baby and they seem uninterested in it, and you go in and prepare another meal for them, they learn that when they're uninterested in the meal that you're offering, you're going to go in and prepare a meal for them. That is extremely stressful and you don't want to set yourself up for that stress. Babies 6 to 9 months should be given 1 to 2 opportunities a day to practice how to eat. Solids are not meant to displace milk feeds. Babies are not meant to have solids every time they're hungry. You're meant to create time for them to practice, yes, but it's not meant to displace their milk feeds. They're still very dependent on milk. Although you're to increase their meal intakes from 10 months, that is when you can start weaning your baby off milk. So at 10 months, they're having more solids and less milk, although milk is still in their diet. Babies can completely get off breast milk or formula at 12 months, if and only if they have met their nutritional requirements. Also, babies can have cow's milk at 12 months once they are off breast milk or formula. Toddler milk is only a scheme to make money from parents. Offer solids when baby is half full and when baby is in the mood to explore. If you offer solids when baby is sleepy, tired, or hungry, your baby will not be interested in exploring this new thing. You need them to be half full. If your baby takes 150 ml of milk, you want to offer 75 ml, then offer solids and then offer the remaining 75 ml at the end of the exploration. We cannot talk about baby-led weaning method without talking about gagging versus choking. One major reason why parents run away from the baby-led weaning method is because they believe that gagging is choking. But gagging isn't choking, choking is rare. What is gagging if gagging isn't choking? Gagging is an inbuilt mechanism to prevent babies from choking. This is what gagging looks like. Looks familiar, right? Yeah, that's gagging, not choking. Solid start defines gagging as a protective reflex that results in the combination of the back of the throat to get food or objects out of the mouth. When we gag, our esophagus squeezes rhythmically bottom up, pushing things up and out while stopping our bodies from swallowing. Babies gag on periods as well because it's a new sensation in their mouth, and the brain sees it as an intruder. Simply put, when the body senses that an item could lead to choking, we gag. But the gagging reflex is more pronounced in babies because they're still learning how to eat, and there are many mechanisms that have been put in place to protect them. During the process of exploring different food items and textures and flavors, your baby is going to gag, and they may even vomit due to gagging. Stay calm. Do not help your baby. Your baby is very capable of handling the situation. Let them learn how to reorganize food items in their mouth. Do not stick your finger in to help, as you can push the item further back. Also, do not take the meal away from your baby just because they gagged or vomited, to prevent a negative association with food. Last but not least, avoid frequently cleaning your baby's mouth and the mess they make while learning how to eat. Imagine that for every spoon you placed in your mouth, there was someone to clean your mouth. That is a really uncomfortable sensation, and that is how babies also sense it. There are some babies that are fine with that, but some babies really get irritated when you clean their mouth constantly, because cleaning their mouth actually leaves a burning sensation on their skin, and it's really uncomfortable. So ensure that you clean your baby's mouth only when they're done eating. And so you take your baby to the sink. You don't want them to associate that feeling with where they're eating. So take them to the sink and clean their mouth when they're done eating. Finally, the last method is the combo feeding. This is simply the combination of the spoon feeding method and the baby-led weaning method. Parents usually tilt towards this method because they ensure that at least baby is eating something, at the same time baby is learning how to chew and what to do with food. This is the end of this video, and I hope you're well equipped to make the right choice for you and your baby.